We want to give you an update on an FBI raid of a New York Police Department headquarters that happened just yesterday. One of the men who's apparently at the center of this raid and the investigation attached to it has now stepped down. This is the Sergeants Benevolent Association president, Ed Mullins, resigned at the request of the union's board. They said that in a letter to their membership late yesterday. Now, we don't have a lot of very specific granular information about the objective of the raid or the investigation attached to it, although we do know that it's connected to an investigation by the FBI, as well as the Public Corruption Unit in the US Attorney's Office in Manhattan. That's according to 2 different sources. And even the board seems to be a little bit in the dark. They say the nature and scope of this criminal investigation has yet to be determined. However, it is clear that President Mullins is apparently the target of the federal investigation. We have no reason to believe that any other member of the SBA is involved or targeted in this matter. So why don't we start with that, Adrian? Again, we don't know much. I just sort of assume, for better or worse, that because this involves like the Public Corruption Unit, the FBI, and that sort of thing, that you might have more information than me. Other than the fact that there seems to be a corruption angle to this, have you picked up on anything?
Like you said, I don't know much, but I know somebody's probably gonna go to prison, that's for sure. Because the US Attorney's Office, Southern District of New York, they do not play. And also the fact that he stepped down after his home was also raided yesterday. Mullins, you know what? All I'm smelling right now is what they call RICO. I could just see all sorts of charges, all sorts of corruption, racketeering. It's gonna be a good old time. They're gonna be up in court. It'll be dockets for days. Mullins, I'm sure, is lawyered up. And these are just my suspicions, knowing how it works with the US Attorney's Office, and also for FBI raids, and also to raid a police union headquarters and the union headquarters head guy's home. No. It's gonna be good times. This is going, you know what it will do? It will spark a lot of Law and Order episodes. That's what will happen.
Okay, well, you have your suspicions. I have speculations, and my favorite brand of that is baseless. So, look, they're the 5th biggest cop union in the country. I imagine that attached to that is quite a bit of money. That seems to me, as a person who knows very little, like the most likely part of this is misuse of funds, something like that. I don't know. Does that seem likely?
Oh, I could definitely see that. I could see some kind of organized corruption ring going on, whether it includes funds or maybe pay for play kind of situations. I just think that whatever is going on, that there are a lot of people involved, and people will be cutting deals right and left, because the FBI would not go this far unless they had something. And also, we have to remember, this is law enforcement on law enforcement. How likely is that to happen unless there is truly a guilty verdict coming out of the back end of this?
Okay, and you love to see it. Well, okay, let's try to get a little bit more information about what might have been included. Bearing in mind the person that this is focused on. Now, first of all, to be fair, the union's board had a letter that said this: like all of us, Ed Mullins is entitled to the presumption of innocence, and we ask you to withhold judgment until all the facts have been established. No. However, the day-to-day functioning and the important business of the SBA cannot be distracted by the existence of this investigation. That's fine. You go back to doing whatever you're doing. I don't know what that is, but I assume it's probably bad, not in the interest of people who aren't cops. In any event, they say that he is entitled to the presumption of innocence. That is a statement that I'm going to challenge, because everyone technically is entitled to the presumption of innocence, that's true. But in practice, obviously, we get to evaluate what we know about people. And so we're gonna provide a little bit of information about Ed Mullins. And I'm gonna try to not say Ed Rollins every single time here. One thing that this apparently is not attached to, although, it'd be spicy if it was, is this news from a few days ago. Headline: De Blasio vows full investigation after data leak appears to link 2 NYPD officers to the Oath Keepers. So the good news is that it's not attached. The bad news is that, man, there's multiple scandals hitting them all simultaneously. In any event, Mullins, this is not like the first time he's made news as the head of the SBA. So back in 2020, He posted the arrest report of de Blasio's daughter, Chiara de Blasio, on social media following her arrest during George Floyd protests. Mullins was hit with departmental charges for the violation of NYPD rules. So he just decided that he would personally take this and post it on social media for people to read and gloat over, Adrian, I guess. It's a weirdly specific and spiteful flex for a guy who's been the head of this major union for close to 2 decades at that point.
Yeah, because she had participated essentially in the marches of last year. I'm sure it's an effort to try to dox her in some way. But the thing is, Chiara de Blasio, she is a citizen. She's entitled to speak out and to use her First Amendment rights. And so to punish her by putting her information on blast, that just speaks to the kind of man Mullins is.
Yeah, exactly. And look, people get to participate. Like, she as a citizen might go to one of these marches for racial justice. Lots of cops participate in the insurrection. I mean, everybody participates in their own way, Mullins. It's America.
Yeah,
anyway.
One's illegal and one's not. But
exactly. Oh, that's true. I suppose that's important context as well. Now, let's see. In another instance during the pandemic, this is all recent stuff, by the way, from Mullins. Mullins tweeted that the city's health commissioner was a bitch who had blood on her hands after she sparred with the NYPD over 500,000 hospital-grade face masks. So, cool. Look, I don't know his own personal position on some of the stuff related to the pandemic. I do know anecdotally that police departments seem like, of all government agencies, the least interested in complying with any of this or taking the pandemic seriously. That's sort of what I've picked up over time. And I will also point out that the whole de Blasio thing seems kind of personal to Mullins. So at one point, the SBA NYPD Twitter account had tweeted saying it was his comments. Mayor de Blasio, the members of the NYPD are declaring war on you. We do not respect you. Do not visit us in hospitals. You sold the NYPD to the vile creatures, the 1% who hate cops but vote for you. NYPD cops have been assassinated because of you. This isn't over. Game on. And this was following a shooting, I believe, in February of 2020 that targeted cops. So Adrian, he's a real piece of work.
For real, and I don't know who tweeted that out. Was that an intern? It's just like, are you kidding? What is going on here? Not the most professional response on the platform, no matter how you feel about the mayor. But I think Mullins, he's not a good look for the organization, the union. I wonder what is going to happen here. I do, as I've indicated, think a lot of heads will roll. But as far as Mullins goes and the FBI, they really don't come to play in this kind of situation. And I think the investigation probably has been going on for months.
Sure.
So having all of these things also come out, it just really shows you that they probably, they might know what they're doing.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna give you 2 more fun little tidbits before we move on. One is that Richie Torres, a Democratic representative, tweeted Ed Mullins, who famously called me a first-class whore for daring to ask questions about the SBA, just got a first-class raid from the FBI. That's just fun, I just like that. That's good, that's Ken Klippensteinian. And also, to give you an idea of who this person is it possible that something on a mug could tell you everything you need to know about a person? Like, I don't know, is it like, I don't know, you can tell from my mug that I drink too strong coffee. Some people prefer to talk about other parts of their personality or their worldview. So back in July 2020, he gave an interview with Fox News, and totally accidentally, in the background, you can see something. Do you see it? Do you see it? It's a QAnon mug with the hashtag, when we go one, we all go crazy and estrange ourselves from our families. Yeah, that was just in the background. But even if it was accidental, that's bad enough. I have a feeling that was intentional. He's trying to send a message to these crazies that he's one of them. That's fun, Adrian, for a guy heading up one of the biggest cop unions.
Seriously, he's going from crackpot crazy mugs to what, bad mug shots, I'm sure soon.
Oh,
unless he gets it together. Did you like that?
You're a regular Richie Torres.
Doing it, I'm so.
Yeah, and not to spoil the fun, but it's one thing for a random crazy to be a fan of the QAnon thing, But when you're like a leader of cops, law enforcement, and all that, I do want to remind everyone that the core of the QAnon thing is that inevitably there will be a great storm where all of the evil people are rounded up and executed. So having, the guy who used to be a cop believing it and still leads cops up until today, that's fun. That's fun.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.